would like to introduce our next speaker, Neto. He's going to talk about novel feed additives, animal feed.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My specific subject is animal nutrition, so it's more related to agriculture. So I try to have the focus to please you in here, and try to relate to human nutrition as well. Because I thought to myself, and it really happens when you feed animals with different diets, the products which they produce for us, they are different. So we are affected in indirect way. So the main presentation will focus on a little bit of background, some of the methods I'm using in the lab to try to identify novel foods to manipulate the animal feed, and some of the results and conclusions and acknowledgements. Okay, so just as an introduction, as you can see here in the red area, the vast majority of the meat, and it represents the whole protein as well as milk and wool. It's from beef and sheep meat, okay? And it has a huge difference from the poultry in the top and the pig meat in the bottom. The difference is that the pig and poultry, they need to feed the same source of food as us, like they need maize, they need wheat, and these are main competitors as human diet. So in a world with millions and billions of people suffering from undernourishment, so I think sheep, cows and goats, they are more appropriate to feed us because they use fiber, which comes from the grass, and they convert fiber into protein. So we can consume a protein which has a cheaper source and most reliable source for us. Okay, but the animal, like the cow here, it hosts in special developed stomach lots of microorganisms which has the enzyme called cellulase, which breaks down the cellulose and enables the animal to utilize energy from this breakdown and produce for us the protein I mentioned before. But the problem is that some of these microorganisms, they produce byproducts like methane, which is a really dangerous green gas for us. And they have a lot of other byproducts, which makes the efficiency of the system a little bit worse. So we want to manipulate this ecosystem and to try to select a microbial population which is more appropriate for us and makes the animal more efficient to produce food. And what happens? We are trying with our research to use some secondary metabolites of plants, which these plants have evolved these mechanisms to defend against insects. And these secondary metabolites, they have an effect on the rumen of the animals. But we don't know exactly what's the effect and which chemicals are responsible for the effect. So I try to screen from some plants exactly which chemicals are having the effect and how the effect can be expressed. Okay, and also in 2006, the European legislation has banned the antibiotics which were previously used to manipulate this fermentation. It was artificial antibiotics. The industry developed them, and so the farmers have been using them all over the world to make the animals more efficient. But they were banned. Now there is a big research gap. How can we keep the same level of production to the animals, still give the same quality product for the consumers, but without using them? So that's the reason why I try to use natural antibiotics from plants. Okay, the methods to assess them are mainly from in vitro methods, in cycle methods, in vivo methods. In vivo methods is just the last stage when we use just to make sure that the results are appropriate in the two previous ones. Okay?